Welcome everyone, this is your OG, Original Gamer, and this is a Godforge video. Today we'll be looking at how to build a Marine Corps approved meta team for the upcoming Alpha Tournament Tower in July. This will be your first look at what champion types and statistical attributes will be your priority as you farm gear and ascend champions and get multiple copies of champions. We'll be taking a spin around the good old OODA loop to explain why your OG's Invincible team structure is used in the Marine Corps today to generate unbeatable momentum and tempo, and is a key reason why Marines are known around the world as some of the greatest warriors in history. We will also share some early Pantheon name ideas to get the creativity and humorous memes flowing, and a quick poll on what name idea you think is best of the three choices I'm considering. Lastly, we will finish with a look at what champs in Godforge are looking to be the best for each role in your OG's Invincible Alpha Tower team. This is indispensable information, and I promise you, you don't want to miss any of this. All right, let's not waste another minute. It's time to optimize. All right, so this is our first exclusive. We are going to be doing a quick hit on what do you need for a team to get through the alpha testing tower. Okay, so what does a team need to look like in order to face the myriad of challenges and obstacles that we know this tower is going to throw at us? Okay, so we know that the alpha tests start in early July. A starts in early July, B is in later July. Fateless there will open the doors, Willy Wonka style, for the game for the first time to outside players, and the fun will begin. So you will have to compete in 150 levels in a standalone tower challenge that may either rise to the heavens or descend into the depths of the earth. But we know this, rise or fall, this alpha tower will challenge us all. So the gauntlet has been thrown down. How do we respond? Iterate and improve, I think I heard you say. That's right. But it's clearly more efficient if we could identify the champions best suited for building a team that will carry you to immortality. I'm going to dive in, not too deep, on the origins of this advice and the way that the Marine Corps uses this strategy to become unstoppable on the battlefield. Stick around, because this information is going to make the difference between you getting to take a shot at being the top damage dealer against that final endgame boss who has unlimited health and not. Do you think you have what it takes to move from mere mortal to the pinnacle of the Pantheon? If so, you need to subscribe to this channel and set your notifications to on so that you get the consistent and important information you need to match your ambitions. Your OG will be mixing in new player guides, Easter egg search results, and detailed character analysis. So you just really want to subscribe to the channel, because there's going to be a lot coming out. You're going to want to rewatch videos or pause videos and come back to them, so you make sure you don't miss any of the necessary knowledge. Some of the videos can be very, very dense with knowledge. Just as Marines are known for their unmatched momentum in combat, you too can have unmatched momentum, knowledge, and insights into the meta strategies in the game. Was that a mini brag there? No. It's not bragging if it's a fact. So just kidding. But I like to have a good time on the channel here, mix it up. Speaking of which, did you serve your country? What branch? I'd love to see some comments below from any other veteran gamers in the space. That would be cool to see. All right, so here we are now, and we are looking at a fire team, a Marine Corps fire team. So we're going to head back to boot camp here for a little bit, but it's going to have a little bit less of the spitting in your face and peeing your pants. I'm not going to digress. You can't make me. All right, so this is a Marine Corps fire team. This is the base element of our organizational structure. You will see 4 roles: a fire team leader, a rifleman, or otherwise known as a forward scout, an automatic rifleman, also known or better known as a saw gunner, and then a grenadier, or sometimes called an assistant saw gunner. This is a basic setup, but it is extremely powerful array of firepower that lets you have very high levels of command and control with your fire team leader, gives you advanced notification of enemy contact with your rifleman or forward scout, and the ability to bring to bear both direct fire with your saw medium machine gun and indirect fire because of the arc of the grenade launcher being kind of similar to like lobbing footballs that go boom. So this is done this way on purpose so that when your opponent attempts to counter either, they become more vulnerable to both. Like scissors cleanly cutting through paper, the elevated tempo of this fire team allows their OODA loops to be as many as a dozen moves ahead of the enemy's ability to process what is happening and adjust. But anyways, now a quick word from our sponsor, our wish list sponsor. This is our Now You Know segment. Did you know that the SAW, the squad automatic weapon, was originally designed to be used by one person, but can easily be modified to be operated by 2 or more people? And this is because the SAW has a unique feature called the stock to pistol grip conversion, which allows the weapon to be fired from both a rifle and pistol grip. This modification was designed specifically for the Marine Corps, as they needed a weapon that could be easily operated by multiple Marines in tight spaces. The SAW's compact size and versatility made it an ideal choice for this purpose, and it has since become a staple of the Marine Corps arsenal. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the future, but now you know, and knowing is half the battle. Well, the other half involves guns, so that's why we talk about it. All right, let's get back to the story here. All right, so now we are going to focus on moving forward. So we have a fire team figured out here, and we're going to bring in our squad, okay? So your squad is a collection of 3 fire teams. As you can see, the 3 teams of 4 here. So you have the R is your rifleman, or that's your recon sort of scout. That arrow is your fire team leader. And then you have the line across on the right, sort of the slash, like the Ghostbusters slash. That is your automatic, or your assistant saw gunner, or your grenadier. And then the G is your gunner, or your saw gunner. So that is how they are set up. And then when they're brought together into a squad, in the middle you also see the symbol with the blacked out quarter. That is the squad leader. The A is the assistant squad leader, and the SSO is a lot of times either a medic or a comm marine, or someone that's providing sort of, or a translator, or someone that would provide sort of an additional, or a guide to help you out on the patrol. So we will show you that. Perfect. Now, this is the firepower that a fire team brings to bear. You have the rifleman there, the scout rifleman, has a small arm suppressor so that he's not going to alert the enemy that he's there. He can do work with very quietly, very quickly. You see above that the grenadier. This has got the, either he's carrying a M32 grenade launcher, or he's got an under-barrel grenade launcher under his rifle. Then above that, automatic rifleman. This is the saw gunner usually, or the assault. They have some new weapons now. I'm not completely up on them, but this is your saw gunner. And then above that is your team leader. Would have an M4, something easy for them to swing around the side, because more of what they're doing is commanding and controlling rather than shooting themselves. They're seeing the whole battlefield. And so what this shows you is that each of these roles really aligns with a piece of the OODA loop. So your forward scout is your observe feature. He sees the enemy positions, says where they are. We'll get into that more in a little bit here. But this is how this ties in to Godforge. So, anywho's, let's get back to here. And then this was a midnight 5K run on the flight line in Afghanistan. Probably when I can say I fell in love with British people. The Brits and the Danes were absolutely hilarious. They would come out for the 5K dressed in all manners of hilarious outfits. This was a Hooters girl that was running right in front of me. I was losing to the Hooters girl, so there you have it. But we had people dressed as the Easter Bunny, all kinds of things, which was extremely ironic in the midst of being at war. But yeah, that was gonna just give you that there to look at. So, all right, let's get back to him. I just wanted to do that real quick. Okay, so this four-person force of nature, this fire team, and we'll go back to it here so you can see it. This fire team can actually do some really incredible things. They can morph formation to mass fires, just like a mythical can in Raid Shadow Legends. They can leapfrog and change position while under fire and still maintain pressure on the enemy and hold tempo advantage, just like a Call of Duty e-gamer. They can also provide themselves with 360-degree defensive posture for times when the team needs to stop, communicate, or strategize. When told that there were 10 Chinese divisions surrounding them in the Chosen Reservoir in the brutal Korean winter in the Korean War, General Chesty Puller smartly said, "We're surrounded. That simplifies our problem of getting to these people and killing them. Now we can fire in any direction. Those bastards won't get away this time." And I think that kind of shows you how crazy Marines are. No, but let's jump up a level, and we're going to look at the Marine squad. So this is your full-on squad. As I said, it is comprised of the 3 destruction-dealing teams, plus a squad leader and a comm bubba who has a radio, or sometimes you can have a medic and a translator, or an assistant to the squad leader if, like, Dwight needs a role. But this is just a hurricane of hurt, and it is multiplied, and these tornadoes and Tasmanian devils are allowed to hang out together. It's terrible. But we start to see why in World War I, in the Battle of Belleau Wood, the Germans described U.S. Marines as Teffelhunden, or devil dogs, because they wouldn't stop savagely and relentlessly attacking entrenched positions despite horrific conditions such as being gassed with mustard gas and having to face hand-to-hand combat. Much of it left Germans who survived mumbling about the devil hounds that still chased them. So what does a team look like in order to face the myriad of challenges that this Alpha Tower is going to present? So we will be putting these in order in terms of speed tuning position. So the first position should be the fastest and act similar to our recon position there, or our recon scout. Starting out, this role is going to be a control champion. You want someone with debuffs or turn meter control or lockouts, something that they can get out there and they can lock out or strip or basically get out there and prep the battlefield for you. That's what we would call that for our forward units. So your that first champ should encounter the enemy first and work to fix the enemy in position with varied fires and communicate back to the fire team leader what we call an ADRAC. It is a acronym that means alert, direction, description, range, assignment, and control. So this, and I'll give you an example of that in a second, but this is what we would do to prep the battlefield using our forwardmost elements. We would want to know where the enemy was before they knew where we were and start gathering information on them and moving through our OODA loop faster before they even knew we were there. So here is an example of an ADRAC that you would call out if you saw the enemy and you were a Marine. Contact, 2 o'clock, 6 to 8 insurgents, AKs and RPGs, advancing north, 200 meters, saw gunner, suppress, fire team, flank left, prep to assault through objective, go, go, go. Now, go is also OG backwards, so I think that's appropriate because I don't do near as much of the go, go, going as I might have done in the past. But that is an example of an ADRAC. That is how that forward unit would make contact with the enemy and then feed that information back in the most concise format to the fire team leader, so that individual could determine which assets to bring to bear on the enemy and in what way. What was the most advantageous way to take advantage of that knowledge and that jump on the enemy. I thought of another device or a debuff that could be cool. Insanity. So when it's applied, and anytime the champ that has them on it attacks, they attack themselves or they attack their teammates instead of the attended enemy target. They get like confused and self-destructive. So anyways, insanity, throwing that out there. Okay, so the second role or the second position in your fire team is a tanky risk manager, similar to your fire team leader, who always needs to be alive for the command and control of the fire team to be most efficient. He's not essential, of course, because the fire team can go on with the head cut off to a certain degree, but we're going to want this role to be the second fastest and have them throw up shields or mitigate chances of receiving counter fires directly after attacking. This role is going to want to focus on increasing HP, defense, speed, initiative, and resistance to ensure they always stay in the fight. Okay, number 3, our support role, and aligns with our assistant saw gunner or our grenadier. This marine or this champion would help to spread load the weight of ammo reserves, provide indirect fire with the arc of that grenade launcher. So this is a type of attack that would be most advantageous against an enemy that would try to counter your direct damage attack. Okay, so you're using that to create a dual attack that's impossible to counter. That's why it is an invincible team. As long as you have the defense and the healing to also keep you protected, then the attacks are going to be able to go faster. You're going to just do greater and greater damage. Okay, so also, there may be, in some Marine Corps situations, the Grenadier will specialize in mortars, and at times can carry hundreds of pounds of mortar plates, tubes, and 88 and 120 Mike mortar rounds, which are big mortar rounds that you can use to provide indirect fire on the enemy from your position. I see this champ acting sort of like headquarters and support company would, putting out buffs and healing, keeping the tip of the spear sharp and pressed firmly against the adversary's jugular. This champ might speed up or improve the abilities of all the other team members to do their role, and this champion is vital. At the end, stick around, we're going to be discussing which Godforge champions fit into each of these roles. You're not going to want to miss that. That's very important to your account progression. So last but certainly not least, we have the saw gunner or the automatic rifleman. The reason there are few in the world who attack a Marine patrol twice, this is why. Okay, the saw gunner provides high rates of direct automatic fire and deals damage and battle-ending damage to enemies, even when they have built-up cover or some sort of concealment. This is our, in Godforge speak, this is our damage dealer, of course, right? This is the hand of the gods, just whose impact reverberates like a thunderclap all through the game. We all know the dangers, of course, of glass cannons, who don't live up to their full damage potential because they bow out of the fight faster than a cat spotting a cucumber. But we're going to look for champs here in this role with dual multipliers. That is our buzzword, dual multipliers or DMs. And most likely we're going to see that dual multipliers as HP and attack. We've already seen Ra, possibly Anubis, Hercules, Gilgamesh. These are some of the champs we've seen that might very well have a dual multiplier. These are the most obvious, HP plus attack. But I'm hoping once we see the full champion kits and we find out, I'm hoping they have some speed plus attack dual multipliers, HP plus defense dual multipliers, and defense plus speed for your defensive nukers dual multipliers. But we'll have to wait to know more. That's just something I'll float. So the basics won't change, though. You won't have the advantage maybe of first move. You want to have the advantage of first move, to prep the battlefield and jump ahead of the enemy's OODA loop, or their processing of the fog of war. Once we have started to iterate and improve, the enemy may not even know that we are there. It is a game of racing to 100% diminishment of the enemy's center of gravity by applying an uneven multiplier through dedicated planning and the identification of the enemy's critical vulnerability. Combine this with our EML COA and EMD COA, which is our analysis of the enemy's most likely course of action and most dangerous course of action, and we can form strategy for what sort of offensive, defensive, and supporting elements we need to achieve our mission. For more information on operational planning, just do a Google search on OSMIAC, the 5-paragraph order, and you'll learn all you never knew you didn't want to know. Okay, moving on. We're going to have some fun here real quick. We are going to talk about some I loved being in fantasy football leagues when I was younger, and I loved some of the namings of the teams in fantasy football. So we're going to have some fun here real quick. We're going to, unfortunately I can't really watch sports and stay awake through a whole game anymore. I must be the elderliness. Get off my lawn, you damn kids. My dogs need to tear up that lawn, not you. But anyways, I'm spiraling into the outer sphere. Let's get back to what we were talking about. So we're going to lay out a number of faction-themed Pantheon and clan name ideas to kind of get your creative juices flowing and see what sort of memes will come from this. I won't read them all, but I will basically let you see them, and then of course you can always screenshot or pause the video and you can, you know, check them later or whatever you feel you need to do. So, you know, come back to it and look at it again. So that if that's what you need to do, that is the right approach, then go for it. And we are going to share. There it is. All right. So Pantheon name ideas by faction. So in Asgard, the Asgardian Corporation, Loki Labs, Odin's Initiative, Freya's Fury, Ulfhednar's Pack, because Ulfhednar means like wolf warrior, Scotty's Sphere, the Strength of Sigard, Sanctuary of the Cirrus, Inaru, Point Set Match, you know, Isis's Innovations, Sekhmet's Death Squad, Anubis's Advance, Ra's Rampage, The Pyramid, Apophis Popping Off, Isis's Insight, the Strategic Sphinx, Horus's Hegemony, Cleopatra's Kiss, Chariots of Fire there, a little bit of a Tom Cruise throwback. Then in Avalon, you have the Knights of the Round or the Square or whatever table, Galahad Gaming. So Tristane's Tacticians could be a female-friendly group, or Arthur's Angels. The Buff Sold Pantheon, that just sprang up organically. I don't even know where that came from. But Sword in the Stone, you could call it, or Druids of Doom, or Morgan's Mischief. If you're in that, you like the Ecker fashion, you could be the Shamashers, or Enki's Edge, or Marduk's Monsters, or the Nebuchadnezzar's Pasture, because if you know, Nebuchadnezzar went crazy and started eating grass before he came back to his senses. So you could be Nebuchadnezzar's Pasture, Gilgamesh, Sworn to Sargon, Raiders if we move to the Japanese, so the Izumu, the Kappa Coven, Susanoo Syndicate, Shinigami Swipers. Those are all, so that's all different ones we could do there. And then we've got some more here to add. Take that one out, and we will, where is our continue? There we go. We'll finish out. So with Tion, we have the, all right, let me see. With Tion, the Jade Network, Chi Circle, the Tau Tribe, the Dragon's Den, Jade Emperor's Inn, Food Dog Factory. I don't know why I like that one. That just struck me as interesting. Olympus, you got Zeus's Refuse if you're self-depreciating. Dionysus's Delightful Den. We won't ask any more. Hermes Hub of Horrors. Misspelled that one. But Aphrodite's Agency, Promethean Playground, the Marathoners, Kronos' Watch. Ares' All-Out Nukers, Staring at Lakes, for those that are more casual gamers. Flirtatious Furies and Sirens. In Omicon, your Aztec or your Inca or your Mayan mythos, you have the Mayan Mystique, the Aztec Empire. You just go with that. Call yourself the Gold Diggers or the Jungle Jaguars if you're free to play. Maybe you're the Incan Inheritance if you're a spend account. You know, you're a pantheon with all spenders. The Daywalkers, One with the Sun, Flowers of Xochimilco, Shapers of Fate. Those are just some different creative ideas. For Virage, the Virage Vanguard, Eastern European Empire, EEE, the Russian Realm, Dracula's Drop-Off Spot, Peyron's Paradigm, Money Magic Metaverse, Vortex for Vampires, and then the last ones here are just, I joke, Tantrums of Thor, Osiris's Oh No Moments, Pandora's Boxing Club, Going Commando for those of you that get that, the Retaining Water Gods, 125th God on my mother's side, Ramses's Bath, and Montezuma's Revenge. So just some funny and silly things that we thought would be interesting to include. All right. So now let's get to what you have been waiting for. Which champions fit each of these roles? Okay, that's the most important thing, and you're going to want to know which champions to look for. So I'm definitely going to start with the disclaimer here that we are going on what we know of the champs so far. We added a few more champ stats after Simon's interview with Mr. Sneaky's channel today. We did capture a few more. We'll talk about them throughout this. As Simon was on with Mr. Sneaky, he was going through his account and he showed us some of the characters. Now, it is the unstable build, so there are potentials that things we saw were not going to be in the game and were just a product of that unstable environment. So we can't read too deep into it, but we can make some fun assumptions and see where it goes. So, So we don't know many of the kits, but the actual like mechanics or multipliers for everyone. So this is really just a look that's based on base stats and experience with games like this. So that being said, here are some champs that initially look good at filling each of the roles in your fire team and keeping your OODA loop whirling like a well-oiled machine. So your starter champ, that control champ, that forward scout who's trying to prep the battlefield with debuffs and distractions. This is your highest speed champ. You want to have high speed, high initiative, high accuracy, and definitely enough HP and defense to stay alive, but not so much that you slow them down or you take away from what's most important. They have to get out in front so that they can begin the observe function of the OODA loop. They observe the enemy and begin to learn about it and let the fire team leader know that we have made contact with the enemy even before the enemy has started to their OODA loop and understand that they're in a battle. All right, so some champs that would look to be very good for this position. One that has been speculated as a starter champ when the game comes out, Lady Zoc. She has high speed, high initiative, and high accuracy. Pandora, coolest icebreaker in the or idle breaker in the game. Dagonet, we talked about him in a previous video. He has high speed and he has high accuracy. Looks like he might be a debuffer. Freya, possibly my favorite character in the game. Freya, fastest character in the game, definitely in this category. Aphrodite, also fast in this category. Izanami, fast, high accuracy, definitely in this category. Possibly Odin. We learned his stats in this interview between Simon and Mr. Sneaky, and he has 97 speed, which is above average, pretty good, in the top 10 for sure. He has 103 initiative. His first character we've seen over 100. And he has 52 accuracy, which is, I believe, tied for the top. So possibly Odin could be built to fit in this role if we built his speed up enough. So that's your first spot. Number 2, your tanky team leader, your fire team leader, okay? This person either needs to put up shields or do something for damage mitigation, maybe provide passive healing in a way, because this, or cutting in turn order, they want to have high speed, obviously second to that first controls champ, high HP, high defense, and high res, so that nothing stops them, the brain, from moving the body parts in perfect orchestrated sequence. This handles the orient and the decide components of the OODA loop. So you have observe with your forward scout, then your fire team leader orients to the enemy and decides what the team is going to do, and then we act. Okay, so the third position in the team is our headquarters and support position, right? Our assistant, saw gunner, or grenadier. This person is very much in a way for managing the beans, bullets, and band-aids for the unit. So they are the betterer. They better the champs around them. They're also, in my opinion, probably a bad A buffer. That's what I'm calling them. They're a bad A buffer. They put the buffs on their team to help them be better. They're the third fastest speed here, and they could be faster. You could maybe, experiment with these different things, but I like to get my defense out in front. I like to have my 6 covered before I attack and before anyone could cut in. So this is the next champ. This third champ, this HNS, headquarters and support, assistant, saw gunner, grenadier, indirect. So it's your indirect fire. You want to look for a champ that brings something special to the fight, in addition to positive team affirming buffs, as I mentioned. This champ is your force multiplier. Maybe they have a buff strip or a lockout or some kind of speed mechanic manipulation, or they have an ally attack or refuck damage. It's going to be probably use case specific against this boss or that boss, but you're looking for someone with high HP, high defense, high accuracy, high crit chance, like capped crit, and high speed, or at least higher speed. Even if they're in the third position, that's the most important thing. This is your Cardiel, your Lady Mikage. These are the champs that just make every champ better around you, and this is the third champ that you're going to need. Okay, so who are some champs that we are going to see in this space? Well, we've talked about a number of them throughout our other videos, and so of course I'm going to recommend you go watch more of the videos and see all of what I'm pouring out here, because it is a massive amount of information, and you are going to have a hard time taking it all in. You're going to want to pause videos. You're going to want to come back and watch videos, you know, in segments and in pieces as you're building your account, and have it go hand in hand with you. So who is these special champs? Well, we don't know anything about the kits, so that makes this a really limited place to project. But we can certainly see champs like Green Knight and Oda Nobunaga and champs like that fitting very nice into it. Isis and Horus possibly could also fit very nice into that, and do a good job of being sort of that special champ that speeds people up and heals them and protects them, as well as moves them along faster in the attack process. So we don't have a lot of folks in this bucket yet, so I'm going to be honest with you. I'm just going to leave it as kind of a less powerful, like Lagertha maybe could fall in here. She could possibly, Lagertha could be, but I'd honestly probably see Lagertha as a tanky team leader, but I don't know if she's up for that task. We don't know her kit. So there are some folks that are in the space. We just, without knowing their kits, it's hard to know what special force multiplier they bring. So that one, I'm going to be honest with you, you're looking for that special champ that brings that, but I'm not exactly sure what champ that is out of what we've seen just by looking at the stats. So you'll have to be looking out for more videos for that, but that's your third, your support champ. Basically your support gunner, you know, your ammo, beans, bullets, and band-aids, your bad A buffer, so we'll call them that. Last but not least, your damage dealer. So this is your saw gunner or your automatic rifleman, which is a kinder, gentler name for that. This is your righteous tool of totality. And so it's a given that we want to build attack, crit rate, and crit damage in exchange for stats like res, speed, and maybe even accuracy, depending on how they do their damage. But what we're going to be looking for here is dual multipliers, or DMs, like health and attack, which we've already seen. But I expect to hopefully see HP and defense combined, or even combos that use speed or accuracy as a combo. So this is dependent on our knowledge of each kit, but here are some leading candidates for your holy hand grenade, your damage dealer. Ra, Hercules, Leonidas, Shinigami, Beowulf, King Tut, Anubis. Odin could play this role, Zeus, Bastet. So these are all Leonidas. Shamash as a defensive damage dealer. Drac possibly. Gilgamesh. These are all possible damage dealers. Now, once we know their kit, we'll know how we can synergize them even better and to another level in detail. But this is the scope on this exclusive. So let me know what you think in the comments below. And if it was more fun than the Barrel of Monkeys on a rainy Sunday. And if so, then give this process a thumbs up. Subscribe. Make sure you don't miss any of the info that you're going to need to max out your experience in Godforge. All right, so our sign off and our final thoughts. Your OG has come through for you here in a big way, okay? Now, you know that what you're looking for now you know what you're looking for to build a well-rounded, dynamic, and dangerous alpha tower team. You know which roles to prioritize when your resources are limited, which is paramount. If you could know at the start what champs, and only what champs you should invest in, kind of like a shark from a venture capital firm looking through thousands of businesses and knowing what 8 they're going to invest in, then you would be more efficient than 97% of the player base and would find yourself racing to greatness. I hope you liked the Pantheon name ideas, and I can't wait to see all of your clever, funny, competitive, and casual themes and ideas. You see here, we can go, as you can see on the screen here, you can go to Fateless GG and you can get your merch. There is my mug. It just showed up today. My I Stand with Asgard coffee mug arrived today, and I am so fueled up to grind day on stay on style when this alpha kicks off. All right, well, that's all for now, guys. Take care of yourself, and remember, play smarter.